more history, mainly dealing with the Eugene years and my wonderful relationship that continues to this day with the McChesney family. So this one's going to be done on the iPhone. Had a few issues with sound on the GoPro, so hopefully the quality will be okay. The McChesney family, my life with the McChesney family. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, my college roommate Eric Lathrop hooked me up with the McChesneys. I stayed with them during the 1979 and 1980 Nike Oregon Track Club marathons, and they treated me as one of their own, showed me the town, fed me, and came and watched my races, and just were very, very hospitable. And when I moved to Eugene in 1981, actually I lived with the McChesneys for over a month. I didn't have a place to stay, and Steve was going to be changing roommates after about a month, and I was going to move in with him. But in the interim, I stayed with the McChesneys. They treated me like one of their own, wouldn't accept any money for rent, fed me, and Marcia even clothed me somewhat in that she used to sew uniforms for the South Eugene cross-country team, and she made me my own running shorts and running singlet, great quality as well. So let's start with Bill Jr. I arrived in Eugene on the day of Bill Jr.'s wedding to Nancy Westerlund. Then, at the end of that day, Nancy McChesney, and I came to know Bill as a good friend. They left actually for their honeymoon fairly early, and I stayed at their apartment while they were gone to Europe. And Bill was the most renowned, probably, of the McChesney runners in terms of performances. Bill actually qualified for the 1980 Olympic team that did not get to go to Russia, to Moscow, because of the boycott. So Bill, even though he was an Olympian, never was allowed to run in the Olympics. He, 1 year later, raced the Olympic champion, Miritz Yifter of Ethiopia, and beat Yifter in the 5,000 meters at the Bislett Games in Oslo, Norway. Later that summer, Bill ran 27:47 in the 10,000 meters in Helsinki, his personal best, one of the best American times ever. He trained fervently for the next 4 years, but had several injuries and eventually had to retire in 1984, not qualifying for the Olympic team. He and his wife, Nancy, opened a series of fitness clubs, and Bill was a very popular speaker on the circuit because of his experiences and incredible accomplishments at the University of Oregon. And Bill was on a speaking engagement, actually working at a cross-country meet, and headed to another cross-country meet in Florence on October 29th, 1992. Unfortunately, he apparently fell asleep at the wheel on a rainy day and crossed a median and was killed by another vehicle, tragically losing his life at the age of 33. Billy, my gosh, as a child, Billy actually watched Prefontaine and wanted to become better than Prefontaine, and was actually sort of left hanging one time after one of Pre's races when Bill was waiting for an autograph, and Pre had signed probably hundreds of autographs, and just before signing Bill's autograph, he announced to the remaining children that he was going to go for his cool down. Billy was quite upset and actually vowed to beat every one of Prefontaine's records when he grew up. And he did outdo Prefontaine in every event except for the mile and the 10,000 meters. He ran the fastest ever collegiate time, and I believe it's still the fastest ever collegiate time, if I'm not mistaken, of 13:14, Oregon University record. Not even the incredible Galen Rupp approached that record, so he was quite the athlete, and died far too young, and the world lost an incredible human being as well as an incredible athlete. Let's go on to Tommy. Tommy was the oldest of the McChesney boys and set a national junior record in the steeplechase in his freshman year of college. Tom also was in that final 5,000 meter race that Steve Prefontaine ran on May the 29th, 1975. Pre lost his life early the next morning, May 30th, 1975, in a tragic accident. Tom, Steve, and Bill, being at that particular meet, were greatly affected by the news since Prefontaine was actually a friend, not just an acquaintance. So Tom actually didn't run much after college. He got a job with a couple of shoe companies, and tragically, in 1986, Tommy lost his life riding his bicycle. He was hit by a delivery truck and passed away at the age of 30. Two tragic events in the McChesney family. Two sons, incredible athletes, but even more incredible human beings, lost their lives at far too young an age. Steve, maybe the one of the most talented, obviously. All the McChesneys were talented. Steve ran 9:04 in high school, actually ran 2:21 at the Nike Oregon Track Club Marathon, his first ever attempt at the distance, beating one Kim Wrinkle, who was training twice the mileage of his roommate Steve, yet could not run as fast. I was 2 minutes behind Steve, and just an incredibly gifted athlete. Injuries curtailed much of his future running, but Steve went on to become an incredible coach, coaching his alma mater, South Eugene High School, to multiple state titles, and then eventually moving to the East Coast and coaching Newton South, I believe it's called Newton South, to several state cross-country track and indoor track titles. He is coaching to this day, has his own children who will probably become incredible runners as well. Kenny, the youngest. Kenny was the only one not to attend the University of Oregon, opting for the University of Montana instead, where his father, Bill Sr., had gone many years before. Kenny was an incredible runner in his own right in high school, and then in college, as I believe a freshman, he was All-American in cross country, one of the first Americans to finish top 25 in cross country. That was there again his freshman year of college. He didn't run much after college, running to stay fit, obviously, and is now either a counselor or a principal at a school near McMinnville, Oregon. Kenny's children have become incredible runners. Both his daughter and son are phenomenal high school cross country and track runners. That brings us to the parents. Bill Sr., incredible. 4:12 miler in college, way back in the day, and then stopped running when he was raising a family and pursuing his dentistry career. Started running late in life in his 40s and ran several age group records, masters records, even in the 2:30s in his 50s. And Bill, at the age of 59, ran a sub 5-minute mile, ladies and gentlemen. That is incredible. I'm 59 and can imagine running that fast. Marcia didn't start running until late in life, and there again, she also set several age group records for 1,500 mile, 3,000 meters, and road racing, and at an advanced age, even not even running before, was a phenomenal athlete, as were all the McChesneys. So to move forward a few years, and I continue to keep in touch with the McChesneys. I love to visit at least once a year if I can. Bill Sr. has a daily coffee date with his buddies at the Fifth Street Market, where several elderly gentlemen, even older than I am, meet for coffee and talk about life and death and everything in between, and just have a good time. And it's an hilarious event. Every time I go, I make sure to visit Bill and his coffee buddies. And Marcia, despite having Parkinson's disease, is doing well with her exercise. She works out daily when she can and is very positive and upbeat. Bill and Marcia recently moved into a retirement center. I was sad to hear that they had sold or were selling their home of around 50 years, and obviously they needed the additional assistance of a retirement center. And when I visit them again, which will be soon, hopefully, I definitely will visit them at the retirement center, take them out to their favorite restaurant, Turtles in Eugene, if you know the place, and visit their the home of over 50 years that was also my home. They treated me as one of their own, as I've mentioned. I was a 92-pound Texan living thousands of miles away from Texas and couldn't afford to go home on holiday. So guess what? They invited me, or had me in their home and bought me gifts and vice versa, and celebrated with me as if I were one of their own children. I'll never forget the kindness of the McChesneys, and love them so much, as if they were my own family, and they were my Oregon family. So God bless you, Bill and Marcia, and Steve and Kenny, and I miss you, Tom and Billy. And I think I'm going to end this particular video before I get too teary-eyed. Thank you, McChesneys. And if you don't know much about the McChesneys or want to know more, Google them, especially Bill Jr. His running was incredible. Any videos you can pull up, you'll see one of the most beautiful runners you can imagine. He was in the time of Alberto Salazar, Rudy Chapa, etc. He was 1 year behind them. Phenomenal University of Oregon track and field teams. Steve was on those teams as well. Tommy was a little bit older, but very prolific in his ride as well. Thank you so much for those friends who've been commenting on the videos and have shared many of the experiences I have. Randy Cafaro, Cyril Pascal. Man, the thread we had going on that one video was phenomenal, and realized that we had so many connections in so many ways, races that we had run together and not even realize it, places we had visited and lived, and then people that we knew, mutual friends, etc. So keep commenting, and some of you youngsters who think you invented running, you did not invent running. We didn't invent running, but we certainly perfected running. More later, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, share it, and I'll see you more with future episodes of Running History of This Old Guy. Cheers. Hopefully the video wasn't too shaky. I was holding it with my hands, and sorry GoPro, you failed me today.